welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, so today we've got quite a collection in front of us.
We really do. It's quite a mix.
Yeah, like some dense Hebrew linguistic bits. I think it's from a file labeled i2004.pdf.
That's the one. Very specific fragments.
And then this incredibly vivid Japanese narrative. It's called Aloji, right? The Lazy Man's Cultivation, something like that.
Exactly. A parable, really. Paints quite a picture.
Right, and maybe the key piece, this symbolic mapping table. It feels like our Rosetta Stone for this whole thing.
It really is. It connects the dots, linking these, ancient abstract words to very concrete, almost modern images we see in the Japanese story.
It's a real cross-cultural puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And the amazing thing is it all seems to focus on unpacking just one single piece of wisdom.
That's absolutely right. Our mission today, really, is to take Proverbs 20.4, a fairly straightforward saying about laziness, and just, blow it up into this high-definition scene. The sources give us everything we need. The visual components, the characters, the props, the consequences. It lets us see exactly why the lazy person in the proverb, ends up with, absolutely nothing.
And here's the hook for you, the listener. This isn't just some dusty old saying about working hard.
Not at all.
It's like a precise anatomy of procrastination. You've got this lazy guy in a down jacket, his machinery all silent and black, and then this striking contrast figure, a nautical vixen.
Right.
We're basically looking at a masterclass in how inaction plays out, its consequences made visible.
Very visible.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Let's set the scene, using that Japanese narrative as our guide. The setting itself kicks things off with a real contrast, doesn't it?
It does immediately. We're on a field path right by the seaside. And right away, you see these two totally different figures embodying two different ways of dealing with the cold season and the work it demands.
Okay, so who's first?
Well, on one side, you've got the figure of action. She's the contrast, the foil to our main subject. The text calls her the nautical vixen, and she's in it's like a full-on nautical uniform.
Nautical uniform.
For farming. Exactly. And what's fascinating is what she's doing. She's actively measuring the cold wind with an oar resting on her shoulder.
Wait, an oar? Help me connect this. We're talking about plowing, fields. Why the sea gear? Why an oar? Is it just about being prepared for the cold or something more?
It seems to be something more. That mapping table we mentioned, it links vixen symbolically to the number 20 and oar to 04, anchoring her directly to the proverb verse. So her presence is very intentional.
Right.
The uniform, it suggests preparedness against maybe elemental chaos, not just passively hiding from the cold. She's not insulating herself. She's navigating the wind.
Navigating it.
And the oar, well, it's not a farming tool, is it? It's for propulsion, for direction. She represents actively engaging with the difficulty. The source even notes her mindset. Moving will warm you up.
So she's actively managing the situation, using energy and direction to overcome the cold. A real contrast to our main guy.
The sloth.
Exactly. Our main subject, the sloth of inaction. He's the lazy man, or literally sloth. And how's he described? Curled up, totally insulated.
Right.
Wearing a thick down jacket. And this jacket is critical.
Why?
Because the Hebrew source, that I-2004 document, it maps the abstract Hebrew word say, which means fear of winter or fear of the cold. It maps it directly to this very modern symbol, the down jacket. Excessive insulation.
Wow, that's quite a connection. So he's not just avoiding the work, he's actively maybe overprotecting himself from the conditions the work requires.
He's insulated himself into uselessness, you could say.
Yeah, insulated from the effort, but also from any potential result.
And that leads us right to his main tool, or rather his potential tool. He's actually resting on it.
What is it?
A pitch black tiller, a modern farming machine. This thing becomes the embodiment of his delay, his inaction. Okay, I have to ask about that too. A pareful, modern mechanized tiller, not just a simple old plow. Does the fact that it's modern change the meaning here?
That's a really sharp question. I think it suggests this ancient wisdom isn't, limited to old times or simple tools. It applies even when we have technology.
Mm-hmm.
The sloth has access to the most efficient means. A tiller like that should make short work of cold earth, right? But his fear, his inaction, renders even this advanced tool completely useless.
So the parable is saying procrastination undermines even our best technology.
I think that's exactly it. He has the means, the potential power, but he's just stopped. And the narrative gets very specific about the state of this tiller.
How so?
It's described as stuck, rigid, silence. The sources mention the engine, the gears all silent, caked in mud and oil from presumably the last time it was used or maybe just neglected.
So it's not just idle, it's actively seized up.
Right. It suggests it can't move anymore. The
Yeah.
very instrument of productivity has been allowed to decay. It's useless before the season's work even begins.
That's a powerful image. A silent seized machine is a kind of monument to postponement.
Exactly. And he's not even just passively sleeping. The sources point out he's actively avoiding the work. He's on the phone, receiver to his ear, looking for excuses.
Ah, the phone call. That feels very contemporary, too.
It does. And here's another fascinating link from that mapping table. The Hebrew word for asking or begging in the original proverb is kav.
Okay.
That word is mapped directly to the modern image of the phone call. It cleverly reframes the future act, begging for food during the harvest. It connects it to his present act of making excuses, looking for justification, trying to get out of the work now.
So his asking isn't just future begging, it's present excuse-making.
Wow.
The procrastination itself is his current work.
Instead of plowing, he's dialing, he's debating. But the most, I'd say, devastating physical consequence of all this mental avoidance, it's visible right there at his feet.
What is it?
It's the sickle or scythe, the tool you'd use for the harvest, for the reward. It's lying there, unused. And the description is chillingly precise. Dead from black rust.
Dead from black rust. Not just rusty, but dead.
Exactly. That image screams right from the beginning that no harvest can be expected this year. This is really the core insight, I think. The consequence of his inaction isn't just, a lack of game later. It's an active decay of his potential right now.
The potential itself is spoiling.
This decay is central. The parable seems to be telling us. If you fear the effort, the cold, the risk, whatever it is, your tools, your resources, your opportunities, they don't just sit there waiting patiently. They actively spoil. That powerful tiller gets rigid with the, quote, mud of postponement. That sharp sickle blade, meant for reaping life, becomes dead metal.
This really shifts the focus from just laziness to something more like active self-sabotage through neglect.
I think so. And this is where we can bring it back to the core wisdom, the proverb itself. The Japanese source sums up Proverbs 20.4 beautifully. Can I read it again?
Please do.
There. Which translates roughly to, the lazy man does not plow because of winter, he begs during the harvest, and there is nothing.
And when you overlay those Hebrew fragments from I-2004 onto the scene we've just described, it all snaps into place, doesn't it?
It's undeniable. That's the sloth, our guy in the jacket. The fear of winter cold, that's the down jacket itself.
Right.
The shawate 5, the verb to plow, that's linked to the immobilized tiller, the potential action not taken. And in the harvest, that points directly to the sickle and the eventual empty harvest time.
And there was something about absence itself being visualized.
Yes, exactly. This is another powerful touch in the mapping table. The Hebrew words for negation, which means not, and there's nothing. They are mapped visually to a pitch black silhouette, pure blackness.
Which mirrors the tiller.
Precisely. It reinforces that initial image of the silent pitch black tiller. It visually pre-programs the end result. Utter nothingness. The final emptiness reflects the state of the tool at the beginning. The consequence is baked in from the start.
Wow. Okay, so this leads us inevitably to the climax of the story, right? When that initial fear, that inaction, comes home to roost.
Yes, the EN, harvest time.
And the narrative doesn't just say there was nothing. It paints another scene, doesn't it?
It does. It's a scene of, devastation and maybe desperate realization. It shows the sloth's future self. It's harvest time now. He finally gets it.
And what's he doing?
He's holding that same, the sickle, but now he's holding it with both hands. And the word used is he's pleading to the sky, maybe for a miracle, for things to be different.
It's too late.
It's completely irreversible. The blade in his hands, it's still black with rust, exactly as it was back when he chose the comfort of the down jacket over the effort of plowing.
And the fields.
The furrows have, there's nothing to cut. The field, his opportunity, is barren. Why? Because his fear of the temporary cold outweighed his desire for the eventual reward.
That image, pleading to the sky with the rusted blade. There's a harsh kind of justice to it.
Yes.
The initial fear maybe felt small, manageable by just putting on a jacket, but the final emptiness is total. And crucially, it's not a surprise outcome. The rusted sickle, the seized tiller, they signal it all along.
Absolutely. So the core lesson, presented through this incredibly detailed, almost cinematic parable derived from ancient wisdom, seems to be this. The required effort, the plowing in the cold, it's non-negotiable if you want the harvest.
Right.
If you choose immediate comfort, the symbolic down jacket over that necessary action, you're not just delaying, you're actively trading potential for decay. You sacrifice the future gain for temporary, fragile insulation.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, trying to apply this? The parable gives us a really practical, almost operational definition of procrastination, doesn't it?
I think so. It's not just idleness. It's actively allowing your potential, your resources, your tiller and sickle to spoil through neglect born of fear or avoidance.
Yeah, the contrast with the vixen is key. She saw the cold as, what, a navigational challenge? Something requiring momentum.
Exactly. While the sloth saw it purely as a threat, requiring retreat and insulation, two totally different responses to the same external condition.
Makes you think about how we frame challenges.
Definitely. And if we zoom out slightly, this kind of ancient wisdom, when decoded like this, it isn't just, a moral rule. It functions more like a simulation.
A simulation, how so?
It's a physical, visual simulation showing how seemingly small choices like choosing the jacket over the work today inevitably multiply into huge consequences later. That pitch black, silent, seized tiller isn't just a prop. It's the silent harbinger of that empty future.
A harbinger of nothingness, born from inaction. Okay.
It's quite stark when you see it laid out visually like this.
It really is. So as we wrap up this deep dive into just one verse of Proverbs, seen through these amazing lenses, we want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. We all have resources, right? Projects, goals, tools, opportunities, maybe even literal tools and equipment. When you look at your own situation right now, what aspect of your plans, your life, your work, what is currently functioning as that silent, seized piece of equipment?
That's the question.
What's stuck? What's covered in the metaphorical or maybe literal mud and oil of postponement? What part of your potential is silently signaling right now that no harvest can really be expected from it, unless you're willing to risk that initial bracing effort, that plowing in the cold?